The third week of fat loss is now done with, and this is what I looked like in the beginning of it. I'm back to using sunlight as my light source, coming from the side, because I figured that's the most realistic lighting, and that's how I've always done it, so it's easier to make comparisons with the past if I continue like that in the future as well. Here are some numbers from last week, so calories, average weight, and weight loss compared to the previous one. Calories were a bit high, but not too bad, and the total weight loss is now 2 kilograms. Here is the current comparison, no huge visual changes, only 2 weeks between these photos. Expecting to start seeing noticeable changes at around week 6 or 7. My waist is now starting to shrink down, it was 91 centimeters this week, so 2 centimeters less than last week. Shoutouts to the cat, helping me with the measuring process. Starting to become a pencil neck, 39 centimeters, so -1 from last week. Chest 119 centimeters, also down 1 centimeter, though to be fair, there's a lot of fat there too. The fatceps are also going away, 41 centimeters, so -1 from last week as well. Legs, no change. These will still be like 30% body fat by the time the rest of my body is 15%. Another Monday, definitely the toughest workout of the week. The heaviest lower body variation with 5x5 squats, the second heaviest bench variation, and the heaviest upper back variation. But I like it, very productive. It is now the third week of doing this program, which is usually the week where my work capacity starts going up. So, should see some real improvements this week and the next week. We'll see. Alright, it's training time. This week's squats went really well. I put a comparison here just to show the actual difference. I felt much tighter at the bottom, so there was definitely a technique component there, getting more used to these. But the weight also felt much lighter on my back, and I definitely recovered better between the sets. A pretty massive difference overall. As you can see, I'm done with my set on this week's clip and still have my last rep to go on last week's clip. Kinda speaks for itself, really. Definite improvement on the upper body front as well. Did Larsen press for 90 kilos, so the same as the last 2 weeks, but this time got way more reps. Did it for 10, 8, 7 and 7, and I felt like I wasn't exerting myself as much on any of the sets. So the upper body is getting used to this workload and moving along nicely as well. Been having my creatine, it's gonna show in my average weight probably. None of the days were quite as low as the lowest weigh-in last week. I absolutely love this view. Not because of the man in it, though he is pretty handsome. The contrast is just really nice. The shadows, the bright blue sky in the window, and also me doing barbell rows with 2.5 kilos more weight than last week for the same amount of reps with the same exertion. These are definitely improving. I've never been this good at barbell rows in my life. Anyways, that takes care of Monday's workout this week. Post-training thoughts. Yeah, work capacity is definitely up. It is also extremely warm outside. Yeah, the weather was just absolutely wonderful this week. It is very rarely this warm during springtime in Finland. I wish this kind of forecast would go on, but unfortunately there's gonna be a cold period next. Tuesday's workout was pretty nice as well. I started my overhead press with 65 kilos, actually did that for 2 sets of 5, and it went well. Then I reduced it back to 62.5 kilos for the last 3 sets, and the last set was actually easier than last week despite of all that. Might actually hit 65 kilos for 5 sets of 5 soon, which I've never done on the strict press. Pull-ups are also going pretty well, although I'm also exerting myself pretty hard on these. For some reason, I've never been able to leave a lot of reps in the tank on pull-ups, don't know why that is. Fairly soon I should be able to do this for 4 sets of 8 with plus 10 kilos, which would be a nice milestone. The last time I did something like that, I think I weighed like 83 kilos or something, much less than now. Did my pushdowns, cable curls and lateral raises in a super set this week, or I guess it would be called a giant set because it involves 3 exercises. Used the same weight as last week on all of them, got more reps on all of them, especially pushdowns and cable curls are improving a lot. I think lateral raises suffered a little bit because I was doing them third in this giant set, and my shoulders and arms were really tired by the time I got to them. Probably not gonna be using this strategy in the future a lot. The only upside I see to it is time management, but I kinda have a lot of time right now, so not very relevant to me. That is another Tuesday workout done. Can't have a weight loss or a life without coffee. Enjoying the spring, enjoying the coffee. Life is good. Hell yeah. This little furry friend, Cat here, also really knows the best spots to pick. Unfortunately, this will be the last time you will be seeing this little thing. We were a temporary home for it because my girlfriend has some unfortunate allergies. Luckily, a good home was found. Had something of a tear in my eye when I said goodbye to this thing. Farewell, Cat. Farewell. Nothing to drown your sorrows like some bench pressing. This was my first set and very misgrooved. As you can see, the first and third reps stopped halfway through, but I still managed to finish it somehow. Not really sure what I was doing here. Fixed my form on subsequent sets. The second set actually felt like a warm-up, but I didn't film that. But the third set looked a lot better than the first one as well, even though I was already a little bit fatigued at this point. Did 3 sets with 115 kilos and 2 sets with 110 kilos, so the same thing as last week, except with 2.5 kilos more weight for each set. This isn't my best bench performance for volume, but it's slowly getting up there. High bar squats were kinda this week. I expected them to go a lot better based on last week's performance and also based on my low bar squat performance on Monday. Even though I added 2.5 kilos on this, I got 1 less rep on the second, third and fourth set. So can't really compare this directly to last week. I'm not sure if it was better or worse, but it was still a decent performance. Up until about half a year ago, I wasn't going as deep on these as I am now. Touching my calves with my butt physically cannot go deeper than this, and I'm still pushing this for more weight and reps than I was, say, a year ago. So, overall, happy with how this exercise is going. Sometimes you just have days where things don't go quite as well as you would expect, and sometimes they go better than you did. What a beautiful professional angle for dumbbell rows. I repeated 32.5 kilos this week as well, but got 2 more reps on the last set because this felt a bit easier than last week. I'm still gonna be using this same weight the next week and maybe even the week after that, because going from 32.5 kilos to 35 kilos is a huge percentage jump. But that is Thursday's workout finished. Continuing on to Friday, I moved up on the deadlift by 2.5 kilos again, and I'm gonna be doing that for as long as I possibly can. This week's deadlifts were the first ones where I felt the weight a little bit on the last set, which you should, but I intentionally started conservatively because I know from experience if I start my deadlifts too high, they stall very quickly. Starting from 160 kilos like I did a couple of weeks ago should, however, build some momentum for the future. Another major improvement this week was the incline bench. If you watched last week's video, you know that it didn't go quite as well as I would have liked due to reasons. This week, however, I got it for 10, 8, 7 and 7. I remember a time not too long ago when getting this amount of reps even with a low incline would have been very, very difficult. But this moved nicely, didn't bump into the rack 3 times in a row, and all went well. Ending the week with bodyweight pull-ups. Now these are going, it's hard to say. I feel like this exercise hasn't really taken off yet, and that's gonna happen at some point. On the Friday of the previous week, I actually had my lowest weigh-in, which was like 96.8 kilos due to the lack of creatine. This week I was a kilo heavier and I got 1 more rep on the last set, so I guess that is some kind of improvement though. Anyway, that takes care of the entire training of this week.
I lied.
I actually did an extra workout on Saturday because I was feeling very energetic and at the same time bored. So I went to the gym, did as many chin-ups as I could in 7 minutes, then did the same thing with push-ups and then the same thing with sit-ups. Basically easy to set up exercises that you could do in a park outside. This is something I've done in the past for around 4 months, once a week. It was actually during my 4-month cut in 2018. I might do it again now because it's really fun to progress on bodyweight exercises when you're losing weight. I call it cope progress. This ties into the idea of work capacity, basically your ability to do physical work. Whether it's getting less out of breath during your sets, not having to rest for as long between your sets, or losing less strength from set to set, or not feeling as dead after your workouts or the next day, and thus being able to do more workouts per week. Now, work capacity is like any other physical attribute. You can develop it just like strength or size. The only difference is that work capacity develops and goes away really fast. You can actually notice considerable changes within a week. If there was one key to getting bigger and stronger on the long term, I think it would be work capacity, because even if you take just a week or two off the gym every now and then, you lose a lot of your work capacity and thus your ability to do productive work. This is why it's so important to stay consistent and to add more stress to your program once it starts feeling easy, so that you can develop further. Now, I'm not gonna say that doing more is automatically better, but better work capacity means better recovery, which means you can do more work, which means you can potentially make more improvement. As an aside, I think this is a reason why people who do sports develop so fast when they enter the gym, even if they've never gone there before. They already have the work capacity, so when they go to the gym, they're able to recover from more work and make more progress. The main reason I'm really focusing on developing my work capacity right now is that I'm losing weight, and I'm the sort of person who would much rather stay very active and eat a little bit more food rather than be inactive and eat less food. It kind of takes your mind off of the food avoidance and instead gives you some other focus, like getting better at doing something, improving your performance, and just doing stuff you enjoy. I find that makes cutting a lot easier and more enjoyable to me. Anyway, my work capacity is in the shitter right now. I got 32 chin-ups in 7 minutes, 100 push-ups in 7 minutes, and to my disappointment, 80 sit-ups in 7 minutes. My work capacity in my abs seems to be very bad right now. However, it'll be really interesting to see how this develops as I keep doing this week to week while I'm losing weight. I finished my workout by doing 3 sets of farmer's walks for 50 meters using my body weight rounded up, so 100 kilos total. I know the distance because the floor next to this green area consists of 1 by 1 meter black tiles, which I counted, and there were 25 of them in a single direction. No 200 IQ intelligent reason why I'm doing these, I just think they're fun and I like doing them. They definitely develop your grip, your traps, your abs and your calves. Most likely not the best way to develop any of those muscles, but probably a very useful exercise if you want to be a useful person in general. Anyway, that finishes the training week for real this time. That is all for this week. Spring is moving forward, and hopefully continues to do so. The cat found a new good home, and I am building work capacity, which will be very important as the cut goes on. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next week.